Hello, anatomy and physiology. This is a review right before you should take your test. I've got a little penny wenny with me here, and we're just going to go through your concept map. So hopefully you fill this out before you take your test. It's on page 4 of your notes. So here we go. Hopefully you know this unit has been about blood. That's what your test is about to be over. And the tissue type that blood is connective tissue. Should be a review for you. This is the only tissue that's a fluid, and that is because the matrix of our blood is actually plasma, which is the liquid that everything is floating in, which we'll get into down here. Let's try to make that bar go away. All right. So when we get into the blood and what it's made up of, we have the plasma and the formed elements. The formed elements are basically the cells, although platelets aren't technically cells, they're just cell fragments, and so we call this the formed elements. We make the formed elements through the process of hematopoiesis, fun word to say, hematopoiesis, and this is what happens in our red marrow of your bones. So your bones is where your blood, all of the cell formed elements are produced. So the first one here, number 3, is also called thrombocytes. Be sure you're familiar with that interchanging term, but that's your platelets. These are responsible for initiating the clotting process. They have a platelet party. They form that platelet plug when you have a break in a blood vessel. The next type of formed elements are erythrocytes. These are your red blood cells, and they make up 45% of the hematocrit, or the hematocrit is essentially what percentage of your blood are the red blood cells. And so that should be roughly around 45% that make it up. EPO is the hormone, erythropoietin, that produces or tells your bone marrow to produce more erythrocytes if you are low. And erythrocytes contain iron, which is very, very important for the protein hemoglobin, which includes iron, Fe, right there. The other thing to note is that red blood cells live about 100 to 120 days. That's their lifespan, and then they die. They don't divide because they don't have a nucleus. They've ejected their nucleus before they entered into the bloodstream, and so they rely on the cells of the bone marrow in order to produce more. And then the last formed elements is going to be your leukocytes. That should be in box number 6 there, the leukocytes. All right, moving over to the plasma. Plasma makes up 55% of your blood sample, and that's the liquid, the matrix, and everything is free floating around in it. It's mostly water. The majority of it is water. And then it has all these dissolved substances in it, including ions, so salts, lots and lots of ions. These are what we refer to as your electrolytes a lot of times. Nutrients, so the food stuffs that get broken down from your digestive tract is in your blood, plasma. We also have waste products that our cells also make floating around in our plasma, things that might be toxic or poisonous that our body needs to get rid of. And then also hormones. Those are really important. They get scattered around all throughout our plasma as well. And then plasma proteins, which on the next screen, we will discuss what those main ones are. But jumping up here to our blood groups or our blood types. Few vocab terms to stress here. The first one is agglutination. Agglutination happens if you get the wrong blood type or the wrong transfusion and the cells start to clump together. And then also antigens. Antigens. Remember, antigens, think of that I as me. They're I. That's my markers for my cells. So when I'm asking what antigens these blood types have, it's what determines your blood group or blood type. Antibodies are things that are against your body, not my body, somebody else's body. So I'm going to fight them. So the antibodies are the things that fight those foreign substances off. And then if you get the wrong blood type transfused, those antibodies would cause it to clump, which we would call agglutination. So our main blood groups are A, B, AB, and O. Do draw a little line right here because we're going to talk about what bloods you can receive and then what antigens each of those have. I'm not even going to go through all of them for lack of confusion, and you have these written down. But the ones you're going to see on your test include AB. Who can they receive? Well, AB is considered the universal recipient, meaning they can receive all of the blood types. They can receive all of them. Excuse me, and then the antigens that are on it, it's considered AB. Again, that's me. What markers are on AB? Well, it's A and B antigens. It has both. That's why it can receive all blood types, because it has no antibodies. O, on the other hand, can receive only from other O's. It cannot receive any other blood type except for O. But the antigens that are present on it are none. There are no antigens present on O. That is why it's called O. There's no markers, no identifier on there. So that makes O the universal donor because it's like naked, basically. It has no markers present. And so any of the blood types can accept it and they won't fight it off because there's no markers on it. So it won't identify that blood type as being uncompatible or causing agglutination or clumping to occur. And the most common blood type in the US is O positive. That's what Mrs. Lloyd is. Probably many of you are as well, since it is the most common. All right. All right, moving on to the next slide here. So we're just talking about plasma proteins here, okay? And these are the different types of plasma proteins. There's not a ton of this on the test, so don't worry if you don't feel super well versed in all of this. But albumin is used to regulate the pH balance of your blood. You should know that blood is slightly basic, and albumin helps maintain that slightly basic pH. If your blood becomes acidic, we call it acidosis, and that's a bad thing for your body. We also have fibrinogen, an important plasma protein for clotting. It helps form that fibrin clot, and then gamma globulins as well. All right, so we mentioned leukocytes from up above here, and then here we have all of our different types of leukocytes. So they're first grouped into if they have granules or don't. So we have agranulocytes for the ones that do not, and then the ones that do have the little granules are called granulocytes. Right? Now let's talk about the agranulocytes. The two, okay, we have monocytes and lymphocytes. Be sure you know what they do and what they look like. And that was on your review assignment. And the granulocytes, include our basophils, eosinophils, and neutrophils. We had quite a few assignments practicing these, so I'm not going to go over too much review on them. The last little thing, I want you guys to use this little section of your page here to fill the rest of this out on this process of blood clotting or hemostasis. So blood clotting takes roughly about 3 to 6 minutes, and there's 3 steps to it. You have your vascular spasm, your platelet plug, and then you have coagulation. Sorry, you can't see that. I'll minimize the screen here at the end so you can jot that down. And then last little thing is that what you can't see that just popped up right there is that there's a fibrin clot that forms in that last step. That's the mesh clot, thanks to fibrinogen, that allows all of the red blood cells to sort of form a sticky scab in that area. They get caught in the fibrin clot. Be sure that you know that that's the last step that happens at the step of coagulation. That's number 3 that you can't see there. And then the other important factors for blood clotting are called clotting factors. Your liver makes many of them, including vitamin K, and another key player in this is calcium. So vitamin K and the liver and calcium all play very, very important roles in your ability to clot. So just want to minimize this page just a little bit so you can see what was written down here in that very bottom of the page there. Anyways, that is all. Super duper fast review. Please take your test much like you would in the classroom. So no cell phone, no notes. It is timed, and do your best ability. if you choose to take it today. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and good luck. Stay safe, and I will see you Monday the 30th. Can't wait. Bye-bye.